Chosen one, if you are hearing this right now, something irreversible has already been set in motion around your life. And the part of you that wants to dismiss this is not doubt. It is the instinct that surfaces right before truth rearranges your life. You were guided to this message with intention, because heaven has been watching your journey more closely than you realize. You have been walking a road few could survive, carrying pressures no one applauded you for, enduring battles you rarely spoke about, yet still choosing faith when it would have been easier to harden your heart or walk away. You rarely tell people how tired you actually are, because you learned early that being strong was safer than being honest. This is not inspiration meant to hype you up for a moment. This is recognition. This is heaven acknowledging you. God's pride in you is not rooted in outcomes or applause, but in who you refused to stop being while you walked through the fire unseen. You are standing in a season of elevation, but elevation never comes without understanding. Before you rise, you must know why you are being lifted. In this message, everything unfolds across 7 movements, each one revealing a deeper reason heaven has marked you for this shift. This is not about reward alone. It is about divine acknowledgement, about your name being spoken where you could never hear it. If your spirit feels stirred right now, type 777 inches the comments. That number is not coincidence. It is a prophetic marker, a sacred signal between you and the Most High that says, I am ready, I am aligned, and I receive this elevation with humility and purpose. Understand this clearly. Not everyone will stay until the end. Only those who are truly chosen will feel the quiet pull to remain. And those who do will leave with clarity, divine validation, and a deeper awareness of why this is their appointed season to rise. Do not treat this like something ordinary. This is a living word, a divine reflection, a holy reminder of who you are and why God is lifting you now. Return to it whenever your soul needs reassurance, because each time you listen, another layer will open, another truth will surface, and another door in the spirit will unlock. Now, let us begin. Chapter 1 begins here, and it is about the kind of obedience few ever talk about. Chosen one, God is proud of you because you chose to obey when nothing around you supported the decision. There was no clear map laid out in front of you, no reassuring sequence of steps, no moment where everything suddenly made sense. You were not surrounded by applause or affirmation. Most days, all you had was quiet, heavy silence, and the constant tension of not knowing how things would turn out. And still, you moved forward. Still, you responded. Still, you said yes while your circumstances were telling you to slow down, to wait, or to turn back. You walked without sight, but not without direction, because you trusted the voice guiding you, even when you could not understand the path. Obedience when everything is visible feels comfortable. Obedience when the outcome is clear feels logical. But obedience in the dark is where true faith reveals itself, and that is where the chosen are distinguished from those who only move when it feels safe. You did not obey because you could predict the destination. You obeyed because your spirit recognized the one who was calling you. You were not following a list of instructions, you were following presence. And that kind of obedience reaches beyond the natural and stirs the heavens. While others waited for proof, you moved on trust. While they demanded evidence, you acted on revelation. You were not searching for a flawless strategy. You were following a flawless God. You did not need every answer explained. One word was enough. And when that word came, you moved, even when it cost you comfort, even when it pushed you into seasons of isolation, even when it caused others to misunderstand you, question you, or quietly mock your choices. There were moments you nearly turned back, moments the weight felt unbearable and the direction felt painfully unclear. Yet something deeper than fear, something divine within you, kept urging you forward. You continued, not because you felt brave, but because your spirit understood that obedience carries more power than outcome, and that being aligned with God is safer than being approved by the world. Many people watched you and assumed you were confident, that you had everything figured out. What they never saw was the trembling trust beneath the surface, the steps taken with shaking hands but steady faith. You did not always feel strong, but you remained faithful, and in the kingdom, faithfulness is strength. Chosen one, God witnessed every unseen step you took, every quiet sacrifice, every private moment where you chose belief over doubt. That obedience was never ignored. It is the very reason you are being lifted now. You proved that your devotion was not dependent on reward, but rooted in love, trust, and covenant. You obeyed when it was painful, when it offered no immediate benefit, when it required everything from you. And that obedience planted something unmovable in the unseen realm. Now it is bearing fruit. This elevation is not random. It is the visible result of what you sowed in secret. God is lifting you because you demonstrated that you could walk without sight, trust without explanation, and move without validation. Chosen one, your obedience in the dark has qualified you for promotion in the light. You did not rush the process, compromise your integrity, or force the moment. You waited, and now heaven is not only proud, heaven is answering. Chapter 2 unfolds here, and it reaches into a place only you truly know. Chosen one, there were seasons you didn't simply pass through, you barely survived them. Endless nights stretched on with no answers, mornings arrived heavy and hollow, and heaven felt impossibly distant. You called out with everything in you, yet what came back felt like nothing but echoes. You begged for clarity, for even the smallest sign, and all you were met with was stillness. It was in that quiet, when God seemed absent, that your faith was pressed harder than ever before. And still, you held on. There were moments you cried yourself to sleep, whispering questions you were afraid to say out loud, wondering if you had been forgotten. You looked at your life and thought, this doesn't resemble the promise at all. You watched others advance, prosper, celebrate breakthroughs, even those who never acknowledged God, while you remained waiting in the shadows, standing between doors that refused to open. That silence was not gentle, it was sharp. It challenged your confidence, your prayers, your sense of worth, even your understanding of yourself. Yet even when you couldn't hear him, you chose to believe he was there. That decision is what set you apart. You didn't follow God because of what he gave you. You followed him because of who he is. You didn't worship for results. You worshipped from a place of deep trust. You kept praying when nothing seemed to change. You kept praising while carrying pain. You stayed when leaving would have felt justified, and heaven saw every moment. That kind of endurance sends a shock through the unseen realm. Anyone can trust when direction is obvious. Anyone can praise when answers come quickly. But it takes a rooted soul to stand in silence and still say, "God, I trust you." You weren't guided by what you saw. You were anchored by covenant, by spiritual memory, by a relationship deeper than feelings and stronger than circumstance. You didn't always feel powerful, but your consistency in the quiet became your strength. Every time you lifted your head instead of giving up, every time you opened scripture with a heavy heart, every time you whispered, "I don't understand, but I still believe," you were declaring something in the spirit realm. I will not be moved. Chosen one, those silent seasons were never punishment. They were preparation. God was observing how you would respond without reward, without miracles, without reassurance. And you passed, not because you were flawless, but because you remained. Now heaven is shifting. God is preparing to honor you, not only for your faith, but for your faithfulness. For the way you held on to him when he felt far, for the way you refused to quit when quitting made sense. You thought the silence meant abandonment, but in truth, God was watching you grow, mature, and become a vessel capable of carrying more. If what you endured was meaningless, you would not still be standing here listening. And the fact that you are still here means something in you already knows what comes next cannot be undone. He knew that if you could trust him in the quiet, you would stay grounded when the volume increased. If you could remain humble without applause, you would not lose yourself when attention came. If you could worship in the valley, you would stay lowly on the mountaintop. This was never about how much you could endure. It was about who you were becoming through it. And now, refined by silence, God is about to speak loudly through elevation, through unexpected doors, through miracles you never chased. The quiet you once questioned is about to become the platform for your most powerful testimony. Some people will stop listening here, not because this isn't true, but because staying would force them to admit something about themselves they are not ready to face. Chapter 3 continues, and it touches a choice you made when no one was applauding. Chosen one. In a world where compromise is celebrated and purity is treated like weakness or something outdated, you chose the narrow path. You could have blended in, muted your convictions, and adopted the patterns around you just to feel accepted. But you didn't. You held your ground. You faced temptation, pressure, subtle mockery, and even seasons of isolation. People dismissed your values, labeled you too intense, too sensitive, too restrictive. Yet, what they called excessive, heaven called set apart. While others chased visibility, validation, and influence, you chose to guard your inner life. When the world encouraged you to relax your boundaries, you strengthened them. And when perversion knocked, you didn't entertain it or negotiate with it. You closed the door. You understood that purity is not only about what you do with your body, but about what you allow into your mind, your motives, and your intentions. You refused to let bitterness take root in your heart. You resisted jealousy when others advanced faster. You did not allow ambition to distort your calling. You remained clean, not to impress people, but because you lived with an awareness that God was watching. That level of discipline is not fragility, it is warfare. You fought battles no one saw against desire, emotion, and environment, and you won them quietly. Time after time, When no one would have known if you compromised, you still chose the higher way. You honored God in private spaces, in hidden moments. And now He is preparing to honor you openly. Many believe promotion is earned through talent alone, but God does not elevate based only on ability. He promotes based on the condition of the heart. As the calling increases, temptation intensifies. If a person cannot remain pure at ground level, they will not survive at higher heights. That is why your purity matters. It is not a badge of morality. It is a requirement for where God is taking you. He is searching for those who will not bend when money enters the room, voices that cannot be purchased, leaders who refuse to let influence erode integrity. You have shown that you can carry attention without becoming intoxicated by it, walk in authority without arrogance, and hold weight without losing reverence. That is why God is lifting you. The world offered shortcuts, quick rewards, and shallow validation, but you chose the longer, harder, holy road. And what God is preparing will not only be significant, it will be clean, because He knows you will not worship what He gives you. You will worship Him. Chosen one, this was never just about what you avoided. It was about what you protected. You guarded your soul, your calling, your oil. And now God is preparing to pour back into you in ways beyond your imagination. He is lifting you not only because you are gifted, but because you are ready, trustworthy, and pure in a world that tried relentlessly to corrupt you. And heaven has taken notice. Chapter 4 flows directly from that refining fire, and it reveals a truth few people ever see. Chosen one, there were moments your own heart was splintering, yet you still reached out to help hold someone else together. Days when your spirit felt drained to the last drop, yet you became the steady support for someone standing on the edge. You were the one offering encouragement while quietly wrestling with discouragement, the one extending help while carrying pain, the one standing strong for others while storms raged inside you. You gave when you had almost nothing left to give, not only with resources, but with empathy, patience, prayer, and presence. Sometimes all you had was a gentle word, and you gave it freely. Sometimes your energy was gone, your thoughts were heavy, your heart was aching, yet you still showed up for people who never realized the cost of your kindness. And heaven saw every moment. Not a single act was overlooked. Each time you chose compassion instead of complaint, generosity instead of resentment, service instead of self-protection, it was written down in the unseen realm. While people applauded what was loud and impressive, God was attentive to your quiet faithfulness. You weren't performing for recognition, you were pouring from sincerity. Even when no one replenished you, you kept giving. That was not weakness, that was spiritual authority in action. That was kingdom strength. You weren't just being kind, you were planting seeds. Seeds of mercy, seeds of love that refuses to quit, seeds of faith sown through tears, seeds of prayer whispered when words felt heavy. You planted them in dry seasons, in lonely moments, in times when it would have been easier to close yourself off. Chosen one, you became a source for others while feeling empty yourself. You brought light into heavy spaces, calm into chaos, hope into rooms that felt closed off. And you could have stopped. You could have hardened your heart, convinced yourself that if no one was helping you, you owed nothing to anyone else. But you didn't. You kept loving. You kept showing up, That is why what's coming is different. This is not a random breakthrough, it is a harvest. You are not being lifted because you demanded a blessing, but because you lived like one. You aligned yourself with heaven's priorities. You lifted others without calculation, and now God is preparing to lift you in ways that cannot be overlooked. Those who once leaned on you are about to witness God stand behind you. Those who mistook your kindness for weakness are about to see divine repayment. What you released with humility, joy, and no expectation of return is coming back multiplied. Blessings are not approaching slowly, they are pursuing you, not because you chased them, but because you embodied them. And this season is not only about what you will receive, it is about who you have become. Your presence will carry weight, your words will restore, your life will speak louder than testimony. You are stepping into rooms not just as someone in need, but as an answer, as light, as a vessel overflowing precisely because you once gave while you were empty. Chapter 5 rises from that same refining journey, and it speaks to a choice you made long before you understood the cost. Chosen one, you were never designed to disappear into the background. You were never created to move with the crowd or echo what everyone else was doing. From the very beginning, there was something unmistakably different about you, and on a soul level, you always knew it. You tried to fit in at first, didn't you? You tried to quiet your spirit, soften your intensity, dim your light just enough to feel welcomed in places that never truly felt like home, but it never worked. No matter how carefully you tried to blend, your calling kept rising to the surface. Even when isolation stung, even when the silence felt deafening, even when rejection made you question your value, you still refused to bow to conformity. You would not shrink yourself to make others comfortable. You would not trade your truth for temporary approval. And though you sometimes wondered why you felt so out of place, something deep within you kept reminding you that you were not meant to fit in. You were meant to lead. You weren't pushed out because you were wrong. You were pushed out because you were right for something greater. Your spirit didn't align with their system. Your fire couldn't be contained by their limits. Your vision was too sharp, your passion too sincere, your purity too confronting, and that unsettled those who preferred comfort over conviction. They called you excessive, intense, overly spiritual, too serious. But the truth is, you were simply too chosen to dilute yourself. You did not allow mockery to rewrite your message. You did not let loneliness steal your loyalty to God. You kept showing up as yourself when the world urged you to become someone else. And yes, it cost you. It cost you relationships you thought would last, doors that seemed promising, spaces that felt secure. But you made a quiet, powerful decision. You would rather lose the world than lose who you are. You were not chasing applause. You were pursuing assignment. You were not searching for followers. You were choosing faithfulness. And heaven honors that kind of resolve. When you stand for something higher, you often stand alone. But God was watching every step. He saw you walk away from compromise. He saw you decline opportunities that conflicted with your spirit. He saw the nights you cried because you felt unseen and misunderstood, yet still refused to bend. You did not edit your anointing to make it easier to digest. You did not hide your calling behind convenience. You stood firm, rooted, unwavering, even when it was uncomfortable. And now God is about to honor that stand. The very identity people pressured you to change is the one He is preparing to elevate. What they misunderstood is what He will use to bring breakthrough. You did not bend to fit in, and because of that, you are about to rise and stand out. Chosen one, you were never meant to follow the crowd. You were meant to lead it. This next elevation will not come through imitation, but through the fullness of who you truly are. Chapter 6 carries you even deeper into the place where belief had to outweigh everything you could see. Chosen one, you walked through storms that would have overwhelmed others. You stood face to face with situations that made no logical sense, surrounded by evidence that insisted the outcome was already decided. The facts were loud. The numbers told a discouraging story. The doors stayed shut. The answers came back differently than you prayed for. Everything in the natural whispered, "It's finished. It's too late. Let it go." And yet, you chose to believe anyway. What your eyes saw told you to surrender, but your spirit refused to agree. Your bank account reflected lack, yet your mouth spoke provision. A diagnosis sounded final, yet your heart declared healing. Your circumstances screamed delay, but something within you kept saying, "Freedom is on the way." That wasn't denial. That wasn't pretending. That was faith, the kind that shifts atmospheres and alerts heaven. There were moments when the facts felt so overwhelming it would have been easier to align with them. But you didn't. You refused to bow to temporary conditions. You refused to let what was visible cancel what was promised. You looked straight at the storm and still said, "God is good." You looked at the empty space and still said, "God provides." You stared down the waiting season and still said, "The promise lives." That kind of faith unsettles the enemy because facts can change, but faith is rooted. It doesn't move with the weather. It doesn't collapse when reports come back negative. It doesn't retreat when reality demands surrender. Your faith remained steady, not because life was easy, but because you knew the nature of the one who called you. You didn't just believe in God as an idea. You believed God as truth. That is different. Many wait until things improve before they praise. You praised in the wilderness. Many wait to believe once they see movement. You believed before the miracle showed any sign of life. Many trust only when they feel in control. You trusted while everything around you felt unstable, and heaven noticed every moment. Each time the enemy presented evidence that it wouldn't work, you answered with a promise. Each time circumstances tried to prove defeat, you responded with truth. You refused to let temporary facts overpower eternal faithfulness. What you couldn't see was that while you were speaking faith on earth, heaven was responding. While you were declaring victory from the valley, the unseen realm was shifting. Because real faith doesn't just endure hardship, it activates heaven. It unlocks doors no one can close. It sets miracles into motion. And that is exactly what your faith has been doing. This is not only about what you survived, it is about what you believed while you were surviving it. You didn't wait for completion to live like it was done. You carried yourself as if it were finished, because in the spirit, it already was. Before the message moves forward, allow this moment to settle into something quietly practical, something that can live with you beyond the sound of these words. What has been spoken is not meant to remain abstract or distant. It is already unfolding beneath the surface of your everyday life. You may notice it in subtle ways, like a growing clarity about what no longer fits, or a gentle nudge to make space where things have been crowded for too long. Preparation here does not mean striving or fixing yourself. It looks more like allowing honesty to return to small, ordinary moments. It might mean choosing rest without guilt when your body asks for it, or letting a conversation end sooner than usual because your spirit feels full rather than depleted. It could show up as a quiet decision to stop rehearsing old disappointments, or as a willingness to tend to unfinished responsibilities with calm instead of pressure. None of this requires urgency, and none of it is meant to prove anything. The movement that has begun does not depend on perfection. It responds to availability. When you wake up and choose to begin the day without bracing yourself for disappointment, that is alignment. When you pause before reacting and choose steadiness instead, that is alignment. When you clear a small corner of your living space, your schedule, or even your inner dialogue, not because you are expecting something dramatic, but because you are making room, that is alignment. You are not being asked to chase what is coming. You are being invited to notice where you can soften your grip on what is passing. The preparation is gentle because the work has already started elsewhere. Your role is simply to be present enough to receive it when it reaches you. There is no need to rush your healing, explain your growth, or announce your readiness. Even choosing to listen more closely to your own needs, to eat, to sleep, to speak with a little more care than before, is a form of cooperation with what has already been set in motion. If yesterday you were surviving and today you are slightly more aware, that is enough. If you find yourself less reactive than before, or more willing to trust the quiet unfolding of things, that is enough. You are not behind, and you are not late. This is not a test you can fail. It is an invitation to stand a little more open than you were, to let your life slowly adjust to the truth that something has shifted, and to allow your daily choices to gently echo what has already been agreed upon in the unseen. What you have been sensing as you listened is real, and it matters. The quiet recognition, the subtle stirring, the feeling that something within you was being named without explanation, none of that was imagined. What has been spoken here is not floating words. It has already been received, already acknowledged, already set into motion beyond what can be seen. There is nothing you need to force, manage, or control, because what is unfolding is moving by design, not by effort. If you are still here in this moment, it is because something in you recognized its own reflection in this message, not with urgency, but with calm certainty. Let this stand as a seal. What has been activated does not require your striving to continue, only your willingness to remain open as it does. Scripture whispers it simply: "He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion." And that truth rests here without explanation. This is not a conclusion, it is a threshold. You are standing at the edge of a new sequence that will clarify itself gently, layer by layer, as life meets you where you are. There is no rush and no demand to understand everything now. Allow what has been acknowledged to keep moving in its own time. Carry this awareness with you lightly, and as you go, stay attentive, stay grounded, and remain receptive. We will part quietly here, not because anything has ended, but because something has begun, and it will continue to reveal itself as you walk forward. As you remain in this quiet space, if there is anything resting on your heart that feels heavy, unspoken, or unfinished, you are gently invited to share it in the comments below. Whether it is a hope you are carrying, a pain you have hidden, a fear you have not named, or a question you have never voiced, know that nothing offered in sincerity goes unseen. God meets you in that honesty. No prayer is ignored, no tear is wasted, and no word written from the heart stands alone. As you release what you are holding, trust that you are being supported, guided, and loved more deeply than you realize. This message did not come to entertain you, it came to mark you. If this message resonated with you, you may like, share, and subscribe, not out of obligation, but as a quiet way of staying connected to what is unfolding.